bad feeling about this.
I have a bad feeling about this.
I have a really bad feeling about this.
I don't know. I have a bad feeling about this.
Hey everybody, we're back. Finally. It's time for another Ice Cave Radio mailbag. Doa and Charmer here. And you know, I wouldn't say we've slacked. I don't think we've been slacking per se. I think we've just had a lot going on. We're trying to get a handle on things, trying to stabilize the content for the channel, and now we're finally back with a mailbag to catch up on some questions because you've been asking them, and we are here to answer them. Isn't that right?
That is correct. We are definitely here to answer questions. I wasn't going to say that we were slacking. I was going to say that we were preparing some special content. So
it's also true.
This is going to go live on Monday. There should be something special coming in less than a week from when this goes live.
That's right.
Hint, hint.
What
Nudge,
could it
nudge.
be? What could it be? It's a big mystery. You'll find out soon, though. It'll be fun. I wonder what could they be talking about? What are people?
Yeah, I don't know.
Has anyone else been
If
revealing
only we
things
were in the
lately?
middle of a season
Yeah.
of some kind,
Oh, that's just crazy
like
talk.
a spoiler season. I don't know.
Let's see.
What?
Well, it's right on the other side of it. No, I'm just kidding. It's a stormtrooper. No. Yeah. I had you going for a second there. You want to do the first question?
Yeah, we should get into
All
the
right.
question.
Let's do it. Yeah.
So, our first question comes from Grand Moff Guilty, which, by the way, fantastic name. I actually think that's wonderful. This question is, who do y'all think will be the first character to have a card in each of the 4 unaligned aspects? So what they mean is
that's a good
command,
question.
cunning,
Yeah.
vigilance, and aggression. So not counting heroism, villainy, obviously. So that I think that's a great question.
I like this question a lot. Yeah, this is a fun one. Well done, Grand Moff Guilty. I like this question. So right off the bat, I want to sort of think about, all right, which character throughout Star Wars goes through the most changes either in occupation or personality that would warrant an appearance in each aspect that is not heroism or villainy. We're only talking the other 4 here. Command, cunning, aggression, and vigilance. So yeah, it's a good question. I feel like I have my answer. Do you have your answer? Do you want to go, or should I go first?
You can. I mean, you can go first. You can go first.
All right. So my answer, or at least the one that I think comes most easily to mind, is going to be Han Solo, because and we're not talking leaders, because if we're talking about leaders, then we've already got him in 2 of the aspects, right? Cunning, and then we know he's coming in aggression in the next set. But we saw the blurry card in the background, I guess. But as far as non-leader cards, we've got the cunning version already. But he is a character that goes through, multiple roles throughout, right? So I think, we have cunning for the first one. I think that's fine. He's kind of on the run a little bit, right? In that era. I feel like he kind of fits into the aggression role too at that point. But maybe we should do like a young Han Solo card from like the Solo movie. That can be his aggression card. And then we've got Command Han Solo in his era of probably the Return of the Jedi era, where it becomes General Solo. So then we definitely have a reason to have a Command Solo then. But as far as vigilance goes, I mean, you could probably do like a Hoth era vigilance Han Solo, because he goes out in the cold to risk his life for Luke. He's trying to take care of his friends. So I think that could be a vigilance one. So yeah, I could see Han in all 4 aspects, just by virtue of what his character kind of like went through in the various movies.
Okay. That's actually very interesting that you picked Han, because it pairs well with the one that I think I'm going to select, but I have 2 honorable mentions.
Sure.
First, I have to say Sabine, because it's my favorite character, and I think there's an argument to be made that, we already have her in aggression. Her status within Clan Ren and some of the stuff she's done with the Mandalorians throughout, you could make an argument for a command card. She definitely has her cunning moments. Vigilance might be the hardest stretch, but I could see a card for each of those. my initial thought was Obi-Wan Kenobi. We already have a vigilance one. I could see him being aggressive, right? Think young one against Darth Maul. Obviously General Kenobi for command. And then you just have to have some, cunning one pop up, and like, he's a crafty dude, right?
Yeah.
But the actual answer that I want to give is the opposite side of Han Solo in Leia. I think that Leia, we already have the cunning heroism version. She can definitely be aggressive. She is, general in her own right. She can be commanding. Obviously, her status as, a diplomat and so forth as well, I think makes her a great candidate for being vigilant. She's also, at various times, somebody who looks out for the rebellion and then later the resistance, right? She kind of has that almost like a motherly feel in the later stages. So I think she runs the full arc of aspects very well.
Yeah, I think that is a good choice. I think the more you think about it, I think there's a lot of different options. That's one of the things I think we have to look forward to in this game, is that you can just make so many different versions of the same character, and then, have an oops all Han Solo deck or something like that. I don't know. Maybe you have a leader where it's like all Han's aspect penalties are declined, like turned off or something like that. It's just the Han verse. It's like the Spider-Verse, but all Han Solos,
Oh, the Han verse.
It's a good question, though. It's a good question. I like that. Yeah, that's a fun one.
That is a fun question.
Yeah. What do you think? Leave a comment on the YouTube channel. Who do you think is going to be one of the other characters that gets all four aspects? Because the question was, what's the first character? Yeah. Are there any that we already have in multiple aspects?
Not unless you're counting leaders.
If you're not overlapping leader and unit. And I don't think we should do that. Yeah. Nothing yet. I guess the Millennium Falcon, it's not really a character, it's a ship, but we've got two versions of that so far.
Well, two versions, but same aspect, though. I was thinking about characters or things that are different aspects as well, not even just different versions. And so that's where I was like, no, I don't think we have that yet.
Yeah. I mean, Wedge has to be another one, right? Because he's in like so many different situations. No, he's pretty much always in the same situation. He's flying something. But he's doing it in different ways.
He's doing it in different ways, right? I'll give you that.
We could do Wedge ones. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, we could do a whole podcast on that, speculating what would be the different aspects.
Kylo Ren / Ben Solo. Pretty small arc, but covers a lot of different ways that you could maybe look at it. I just have a hard time thinking about him being vigilance.
I have a random Kylo Ren question for you. When you saw, because I assume you saw episode 9 in the theater, like I did.
I did not actually.
Oh, okay. So I've been asking other people this, and it's kind of it's all been the same answer. Funny enough, is that when he dies, he's sort of like spoiler alert, if you haven't seen episode 9, he dies. But when he dies, he's sort of like his head sort of flops back, and everyone in my theater laughed, and it did look funny. It was not a great death scene. It looked very comical, and I was like, this is clearly not meant to be funny, but everyone's laughing. And so I asked other people who'd see in the theater, did the audience laugh when Kylo Ren died? And universally, everyone says yes. So
wow,
yeah, which is it's not a scene that's, I think, played for laughs or anything. I mean, he's a main character. He's supposed to be dying semi-heroically, right? But everyone I've talked to said that there was like laughs and chuckles in the audience, and it is kind of a comical looking death scene if you've seen it. I was just curious.
Yeah, when that came out, we were struggling for babysitters, right?
Oh, yeah.
And
I feel that
Monroe
now.
was still young enough that we couldn't really take him as well with us. And if I remember it, because it didn't come out around Christmas, like it was a December release.
Yeah, they usually are.
And so there was a lot of people that were like not around. They were doing family stuff, so we missed it in the theaters. But it's funny you mentioned things that are not supposed to be comical. and then like everyone laughs. I remember very vividly when I saw Titanic in the movie theater, and the guy hits the propeller.
Oh yeah.
When the Titanic is sinking, like the entire theater laughed. It started as like a couple of people were like trying to stifle a laugh, and then I think people started laughing at them laughing, and then it was like this really awful dramatic moment, and that dude hit the propeller, and then
It's like it's so out of place though, you know, because it does look a bit Looney Tunes in the midst of all this very serious drama. So yeah, that doesn't surprise me. That's one of those things. You think you're putting in a big shocking moment, but instead you're just kind of putting in a bit of humor. Yeah. So anyway, our podcast on films will be coming soon, I guess. Titanic, the first one. We're going to be watching both VHS tapes. It's that long. And we'll tell you all about it. People don't know what I'm talking about. It was, do you have it? You don't. Do you have it?
No, but I have.
Okay.
The Lost World
there was
double VHS.
Why is there a double VHS of The Lost World? That
this
movie
was
wasn't
how
that
you
long.
used to do special features.
Oh, okay.
So when you wanted to do the like special features, you know, for the young kids, DVDs are these little discs you used to play before streaming was a thing. Yeah,
they still exist on like your PlayStation and stuff. But I have an original Star Wars trilogy VHS box set, an unaltered clone, if you will, and so we're keeping that safe. But yeah, Titanic, just the movie itself was a double VHS. Can you imagine how long the Avatar VHS stuff would be?
Yeah,
talk about James Cameron.
Would have been the film equivalent of like when you used to install a computer game and you'd have to put in like 5 floppy disks, like part 1, part 2, part 3.
It's the Time Life series. It's just Avatar.
Yeah.
No one knows what we're talking. Anyway, moving on to question number 2. It's my turn to read one, right? I think so. From Oddball in the Discord. With Shadows of the Galaxy pre-orders opening up, how many boxes or cases are you planning to purchase? Is this an increase or decrease from your Spark of Rebellion numbers? Well,
I'll go first.
Go ahead.
I total have on order 7 boxes.
Okay.
Which might sound like a lot, but what people have to remember is that like I share cards with Stark. So we did a case through one, and then my local game store has already let me know, unfortunately, that there is some pretty heavy allocation that's occurring already. And so while I had ordered more through them to let other people in the area get it, and since I already had the one order that was coming, I told him, hey, just take that one down to a box. Like, I still want to give you my money, but I also know that you'll be able to sell this no problem. So like, I'll let you give that to other ones. And honestly, something similar happened to me during set 1. So set 1, I had originally started with a case because, you know, the question asks, what was your original set 1 order? So I'd ordered a case, but then when people were running out, the case that I had ordered, I said, you know what? It's in demand. I'll get some more from you later. You can sell the thing that you're holding for me, because I had to drive down to get it. So you can sell what you're holding for me, and then I'll just get something from you later. And then later never happened. So ultimately I only ended up with 3 boxes of set 1, and then I technically still have 2 more waiting for me that I will get this weekend at Minnesota for Flesh and Blood Nationals. Yes.
Nice.
Good friend Keith is bringing the 2 boxes left that he is holding for me. So
exciting.
That is exciting. But yeah, I usually just go with like about a case. This time around, I wanted to try to go a little bit more, and it wasn't because I was expecting the allocation. It was just because I had realized that we were still missing a bunch of stuff when we ordered for set 1. And I don't even mean just like the legendaries. I mean, when I had opened like 4 boxes of stuff and I was trying to build decks for Stark and I only owned 2 overwhelming barrages, period.
Yeah, I didn't get a single Traitorous or a single Emperor Palpatine until like my 6th box. There was some like weirdness where I just wasn't finding certain rares with set 1 as well.
Oh, so. I'd believe it, because I think I opened 9 K2SOs and I also only opened 1 Traitorous. So that's my answer anyway. 7 boxes is what I currently have ordered or coming to me, which is technically 1 more than the last set.
Yeah, so I pre-ordered a case of set 1, and then it got delayed a little bit, and so I ended up just like I couldn't stop myself. I ended up buying like 6 more boxes just like over the course of the first week, because I just couldn't stop opening stuff, and I'm glad I did, honestly, because it took 12 boxes in total to get a play set of all the legendaries. Because I like to be able to build all the decks and play all the decks, especially if I'm, making content and playing competitively. It's good to be able to build everything and play it. So I kind of want that. That said, I feel like I can probably do some trading for the things I need. So I pre-ordered a case this time, and then I pre-ordered another single box from my local store because my pre-order for the case came from a different place. So I will see if 7 is enough. We'll see if I can stop myself at 7. And I will say, in 12 boxes of set 1, I didn't open a single showcase. I have never opened a showcase. So, I
have opened 2, but what's funny about mine are that none of them came from the boxes that I ordered. Both of my showcases were from prize packs from going to like locals.
That's
both
insane.
times I won a draft, and then got 3 packs for winning because they were doing I think it was like a pack per win, right?
Mm-hmm.
So both times I won a draft, got 3 packs, and then opened a showcase in my 3 packs.
I went to a store showdown, and they were handing out a pack to each person as they were coming in, and the guy right behind me got his pack right after I got mine, and then he opened a showcase Krennic. So I was this close. If I had arrived just like 30 seconds later to the shop, I would have gotten one. But no, the universe has kept me from showcases so far. So we'll see what happens in set 2.
Did you say to him, "You stand here amidst my achievements"?
I should have. I miss opportunity there. Yeah. I've been trying to trade for a showcase Jin Urso now because I've cracked the code. I'm the best Jin Urso player in the world now, I've decided. Maybe the only Jin Urso player.
You're a one of one, buddy.
I might be. What's hilarious though is this last week when I brought a Jin Urso deck to my local and I won it actually with Jin Urso, which is funny. Go to our Patreon. There's a free article there all about that. But there was another person that brought Jin as well. And he was playing Jin Command, which I had been like messing with that in deck building, and I'm like, I don't think this is good enough. So I didn't do it. He decided to go all the way with it. He went 1 and 2. Good player, but didn't quite work out for him. I was not expecting another Jin Urso player to be there, but I was not the only one who was just looking for, something fun to play. And I just thought it'd be fun. I thought it'd be like, I'd play a funny deck and do some silly things with big units once in a while. And then it ended up being a little bit better than I thought. So well, maybe there's something there. Maybe it's actually Winner. So maybe she's the most underrated leader in set 1. I don't know. We'll find out. Needs more testing.
Maybe, as a throwback to our poll, maybe she really does have the most to gain from set 2.
Maybe, yeah. But don't build her double cunning. That's a trap.
If only one person had voted for her on the poll. Oh, wait, I did.
Hey, well, I didn't, and I was even playing her, so, that's on me. I lacked the confidence that you had. Yeah. My underconfidence.
Who else is confident, right?
Who's that?
Dummy.
Oh yeah.
Who has submitted our next question? No, they are not an actual dummy. That's the name in Discord. So I'm not calling anybody names.
They've chosen that name. Yeah.
Yeah. So the question is, with 120 plus cards now revealed for Shadows of the Galaxy, do you already have card combinations from set 1 and 2 that you badly want to try? I.e. Palpatine's return from set 2 with Palpatine from set 1. Which, first of all, let me just say, this question, when I read it, kind of blew my mind because I know we've been like blazing through reveals, but it's kind of shocking that we're actually already over 100 cards revealed.
Yeah, but that's not even half the cards, though, is it? Oh, it's about half the cards. A little less than half the cards. We're getting there. Yeah. What do you think? I got my answer right away with this. This is an easy one for me.
I know my answer.
Oh, all right, go ahead.
Darksaber and Sabine.
Oh yeah. Comes on. She flips on 4, costs 4. I think that's a good idea. Yeah.
And I'm a Sabine homer, so.
And you'll be all ready to play it, and then you'll flip her, and they'll use takedown immediately, as they always do. And you're like, well, I guess I'll play my K2SO instead.
Well, so the trick is you turn 1 play regular Sabine, and then when you have initiative, on resource 4 and you play her, they have to pick their poison. So you still have a Sabine to drop it on.
Yeah. Just many Sabines. Make sure there's
Oops, all Sabines.
Yeah. Just more aspects, please. I think my choice is definitely I want to try more 7 drops out of aspect with U-Wing reinforcements in my Han Solo deck, because right now we're kind of filling some spots with some 97th Legion and stuff like that, which I think they do have a spot in that deck for the super late game matchups against like Blue Vader and stuff. But I would like to try other impactful 7 drops, like for instance the new Maul that came out would be a fun one to throw in there. I think I might just replace like Mace Windu with that Maul, because with Mace you run in, you attack something, and then you hope you can swing for 5 later. With Maul, you just run in and you just overwhelm and get some damage done right away. And then it's on them to trade into it to kill it or do something to kill it. Otherwise, you're swinging for 7 the next turn. So I think he might just be a better inclusion than Mace Windu, because they're going to end up costing the same if you end up having to just hard cast them from hand, because they both share an aspect with the Han leader. Maul shares command, or with your base anyway with that, and leader base, and then Mace shares heroism with Han. So it ends up being the same functionally in your deck. So I might try that, is try Maul instead of Mace Windu, even though it means I can't play my Store Showdown Mace Windus in a deck, which is a lot of fun. But yeah, that's my answer. Yep, Han, great deck. All right, moving on to our final question from Ollie underscore 186th. A personal gripe from the weekend at the Games Expo. This is a long one. 3 separate bad feels interactions with judges from different people over the course of the weekend. I'm sorry to hear that. Felt that judges are very heavy-handed in what was, yes, a 120-player event, but only for packs and best of ones. Only best of ones EU. Straight warnings and game losses give out, well, there's a red flag right there. Straight warnings and the best of ones are red flag. Straight warnings and game losses given out with little to no communication with players beforehand. I don't have an issue with that if the rules pack clearly states things such as you must use non-pictured sleeves and other assumed knowledge from a card game tournament background. But many people playing Limited are first-time TCG players. That's true. Pulled in from the Star Wars brand. What are your views on this, especially with judges giving game losses or warnings mid-hand with no prior discussion with players? Also, do you have any tips and hints for players that may not come from a TCG background about etiquette in events? So there's a lot to break down there. I think the tricky situation, we're in this sort of like awkward time with Star Wars Unlimited where there is no official judge program right now, but yet there is a comprehensive rules document out, and there is call for having judges at events. And so that naturally leads to very uneven judging of events from event to event and from judge to judge, honestly, where you might have a judge that's less knowledgeable than the one next to them. You might have a judge that is very handed versus very lenient, because there's no program like there is in other games where there's sort of a general ethos that's sort of like imprinted on the judging program. You're going to get a very random result tournament to tournament. And that's not great. But it is just kind of the way it is right now because, again, there is no judge program. And I would wager that there probably won't be one until the official events start rolling out later on. And Fantasy Flight has said that they're not going to be, rolling out some big official events until there's at least a set or 2 out, right? Because they felt that they wanted to wait for bigger organized play things, for the card pool to be bigger, which I totally agree with. I definitely agree with them on that front. I think I would like to see a judge program of some kind get rolling a little bit sooner. But, again, given that they don't have their big organized play events happening yet, there is a good reason to not have a judge program yet, even though it does create some awkwardness now, like what you're saying. So, yeah, I think it's unfortunate, but I think it is just the type of thing that you're going to run into. Another thing that's been happening that's been bugging me is a lot of the store showdowns ended up being like a top 4 cut instead of top 8 cut, like they should have been. I got kind of cheated out of a chance to compete for the win at my store championship because I came in 7th in the standings, and so I didn't get to compete in the bracket. Was just suddenly top 4. So I know that's been happening a lot of places. So yeah, just kind of more standardization and enforcement of that across the board. I would imagine it's coming in the future, but right now we're kind of in that awkward period where the game is new, and we don't have a lot of support yet from Fantasy Flight for a big competitive program yet. So, is it annoying? Yeah. Does it bother me a ton? Not really. I mean, it is what it is. There are worse problems to have. So, and honestly, I anticipate this one as one that's going to be fixed pretty soon. So, pretty soon, once the competitive stuff starts rolling. So that's my answer anyway.
So, it's worth noting that even with some of what I'll describe as like trials and tribulations of dealing with judges in this situation, because we don't have an official judge program yet, et cetera, is that even when you have people that are not trying to be malicious, right? They're just trying to do the right thing. They can still make mistakes. I have said at my local store showdown, for example, I lost a game. Don't know if I would have ended up winning the full round or not, because it would have forced a game 3. So who knows what would have happened in game 3. But I lost a game because I was playing a Colonel Yularin and I already had 1 in play. And I was doing so because I was under the impression that it would gain me 2 health. And then I would have to defeat one of them, right? Due to the unique role.
Which is should,
rule.
right?
But you're right. Mm-hmm. But like I wanted to gain the 2 health, and it was ruled as gaining 1 instead. And then I knew my opponent. I was playing against a Sabine, and I knew that they were likely sitting on a 4 cause I believe in. And so the whole reason I was doing this was because if I gain 2, I'm at 5 health, and I don't immediately die to 4 cause. I gain 1, I get hit for 4, game over. We never go to game 3, right? Now, I mentioned this because the person who made the ruling is a great guy. His name is Chris. He does all of our local stuff. He even later. Because he wanted to know for himself, he checked in a Discord with other judges. He looked up the ruling. He came back and he was like, hey, I'm really sorry. I'll buy you a coffee or something, but I got it wrong. And I know that he wasn't, being malicious or whatever. It's just again, sometimes that happens, right? So with that being said, I try to provide, grace to the people that are essentially doing us a service, volunteering to help run these events before we have a big program.
Yeah.
That being said, what is described here, it does give me some pause, because this isn't an official event, right? As they said, it's likely just for packs and also best of ones. But even with a big 120 player event, and even if there was a lot of packs on the line, it's not an official event yet. I personally would have liked to see, in the example given with sleeves, right? We know in the rules that you have to either have plain sleeves or the official unlimited sleeves, right? You can't have art from other games. So if I wanted to use my, chain sleeves from Flesh and Blood, that's not allowed. And we know that's in the rules, but as they were saying, if it's somebody new, they may not know. I would personally prefer, if a judge sees somebody using sleeves, instead of just giving them the loss, they probably could have given the player a much better experience to use it as a teaching moment, in my mind, to say, hey, just so you know, this is the rule. And, when this game is over, we're really going to need you to go pick either, if you have different sleeves on you, switch them, pick up a pack of sleeves, whatever. But this is the rule, and explain it to them before they just outright give them the loss. That's my own personal preference. And
Okay.
Well, I was going to say, I just, the thing that jumps out to me is the little to no communication with players. If you're making a ruling, there should be, in my opinion, a good explanation to go along with it. Because if somebody's breaking rules, it should always be, in my mind, a teachable moment, right? You should explain to them what rule is being broken and how to avoid it in the future, so that everybody is, even if they're not happy with the situation, they're at least better equipped for the future.
Yeah. I find it kind of humorous that they were running a best of one format for packs and still strict enough to give game losses for the wrong sleeves. When I think if you look at that rule, it's very clearly in place for future big events where they're going to have people on stream, and they're not going to want unofficial stuff on the stream, on the official stream. To me, that's very clearly the reason. So the way you describe the tournament and how casually it seems to be run otherwise, that's a very strange, I think, occurrence to be a stickler about sleeves, but running best of ones for packs at a large tournament. So I don't know what to tell you there. That sounds like a tournament that maybe could have been run a little bit better, but hopefully that's a one of situation, and we're not going to see too much of that going on in the future. But to answer the other part of the question, any tips and hints for players that might not come from a TCG background as far as etiquette goes? I would say that the first thing to do is just be upfront with your opponent and let them know, and be like, hey, I'm new to TCGs. I'm happy to be here, but if I make any errors or anything like that, just let me know. I'm new to this, and if you know that I'm new to this, then we can have a better understanding of things that might occur in the game that would make a player mad if they were playing with another experienced TCG player versus understanding if they're playing against someone who's new, right? Like what happens if you blank and you accidentally draw one too many cards, right? Which by the way does happen to seasoned TCG players too. But how do you handle that kind of situation? Like
especially if you play a lot of games. Like,
yes.
I can't tell you the number of times recently where I've been playing Star Wars and I've drawn a starting hand of 4.
Yep. Which is what you end up with, but not. But yeah, I know what you mean, because I was playing 3 different. I still kind of play 3 different games. One's 4, one's 5, and one's 6. And so if I play a lot of one recently and then swap, then yeah, it's hard to get my brain to switch over. But so it happens to experienced players too. But I think that, again, the best thing you can do is just to be upfront about it, and don't be like embarrassed about it or something like that. I mean, the strongest likelihood is that the person sitting across from me is going to be like, oh, great, awesome. I'm happy to see a new player stepping into, not just Star Wars Unlimited, but into TCGs in general. And they'll be really nice and help you out, if you need any help. So yeah, I think that alleviates a lot of it right there. Is just, if you're new to TCGs and you're nervous about etiquette, just be honest. Just tell them what's up, If I'm playing a new game and I'm playing my first event in a new game, I usually always say that. I'm like, hey, apologies in advance if I mess anything up. I'm new. I like the game. I'm just learning. Just, keep an eye out for that, So I think that smooths a lot of things over before they become issues.
I would also recommend, if you're very new or you're nervous or whatever, just introduce yourself to the judge before the start as well. Judges are supposed to be there to help. The good judges will absolutely do that.
Yeah.
And if you're unsure about etiquette, or, even if you're like, hey, the reason that I suggest introducing yourself to the judge is one of the things that I think is very nerve-wracking for people who don't have a strong trading card game background is interacting with judges in general. Like, they might think, hey, I should call a judge for this, but they're too scared to, or they want to call a judge, but the other player says something confidently, so they go along with it. And so I think that personally, just introducing yourself to the judge, breaking that ice, and kind of getting comfortable speaking to them can go a long way for just getting you used to the environment and calling them when needed or asking them questions when needed, right? Because I do see that very often where new players start and they either never call a judge, or they, like, you can see them kind of like, maybe I want to, but then they don't. They're just people, right? We're all just trying to do our best. So I think that it's good to just get to know them, and
I agree.
And then just set yourself up for success.
Yeah. As long as everyone's kind of upfront with everybody else, then it's hard to run into issues where, there'll be a big problem. Yeah. But mostly I just hope you guys all have fun at events out there. I've had very positive experiences at all the Star Wars events I've been at. I had one moment where I was playing against someone who called a judge on me for something that was not an issue, and the judge ended up siding with me on it. And I realized I'd been hearing this same individual's voice say "judge" every single round. So sometimes people are just like that. And so that was a little bit awkward, but it wasn't a big negative. And even after that, the two of us still had a fun match, and it was still a friendly fist bump at the end and everything. So I've had a pretty great experience at all the Star Wars things I've been at, and I kind of will imagine I'll continue to do so. And I'll even go farther than that and say, like, I can't think of a single overly negative experience I've had at like any bigger tournaments I've played at, I think part of that is attitude too, if you're not too hard on yourself.
I had
for
one
losing.
bad one.
Yeah. I mean, I'm lucky
I went to
too,
this event and some hideous human being won a lightsaber, and then they started waving it around and screaming, "Who's your Sith daddy?"
Wow.
Yeah.
It sounds familiar.
But anyway, thank you for the question, LA.
Yeah.
Great question.
All right.
I'm sorry if this wasn't as helpful, but it is really one of those things that you kind of just get with experience. And so I would just say, like, immersion therapy. Talk to the other players, talk to the judges, and sooner or later you'll just be comfortable. You'll get it.
And also, read the comprehensive rules. It might seem boring, but I found that I really end up enjoying reading the comprehensive rules for a game I like, because I'm like, oh, I didn't know this interaction existed, and I feel like I'm discovering these little hidden gems about the game that I didn't know before. So it is actually surprisingly fun sometimes to just read the comprehensive rules. So if you're nervous about messing things up, like, that's not going to hurt, going through the competitive ruling too, or competitive rules too. So yeah.
This actually reminds me, I'm making a note now to ping our good friends at FFG again.
Oh, really?
I sent a while ago a series of questions that were for like common rule instances and things that come up. And I had written both the questions and what I interpreted the answers to be from the comprehensive rules. And I wanted their blessing, because obviously I don't want to put out anything educational that's incorrect.
Sure.
And I was told that the rules admiral himself was going to be sending me an email with the replies, and I haven't received it yet. But the goal is to turn that into an educational video that we can then put up on the channel. So this is also a good reminder that I need to follow up with them.
We'll be in Minnesota this weekend for Fab Nationals. We'll just roll over there and just tap on the. We'll throw little pebbles at the window and then hold up a boombox with the Star Wars theme going, and just look very longingly, see who shows up.
You could do the Star Wars theme, but for whatever reason, for the purposes of comedy, I want to do that exact sequence, but have it be the Cantina theme.
I like it. Or
just play some jats.
The special edition Jabba's Palace song, with that horrible singing thing.
Yeah.
Or the original Ewok song. Yub.
Yub.
Or Jefferson Starship from the holiday special. There's a whole bunch of things we could choose. Yeah. So anyway, look for us in the police report when we're arrested for trespassing at Fantasy Flight Games this week. Yeah.
Oh. Hey, we're about to give ourselves the bounty keyword.
That's right. We're just really getting into the next expansion. What can I say?
Yeah. It's all viral marketing. Totally.
Yeah. We're not going to do that. Don't believe us. But on that note, I think that's all the questions for this week for the mailbag. Yeah. That is the questions that we have. So send us more. Reminder, you can do so in the Discord. The Discord is free to join. You don't have to be a member of the Patreon to have access. There's a lot of wonderful people in there. Conversations constantly happening. So join, send us the questions there. You can also send them to icecaveradio@gmail.com, and we will also add those to future mailbag episodes. So you have us in mind for something, and it doesn't even have to be Star Wars related. I mean, we would prefer it, but if you want to know what my favorite fruit is, send us a question. I'll tell you. I thought this was turning into like a self-help column now or something. That's exciting. Yeah, it's Dear Jabba instead of Dear Abby or whatever. Yeah, Dear Akbar. Yeah. Should I date this person? It's a trap. Don't do it. Red flags everywhere. Oh, Akbar, you're so negative about everyone I talk to you about. Oh, well. What can you say? On that note, I suppose it's time to end the mailbag. We'll be back. Well, we probably won't be back next week because we're both going to be traveling. Back the week after next week? Yeah, that is a good question. I guess it will depend on how many questions you send us in the in-between. If you barrage us with questions, then perhaps we can fit one in. But yes, we will both be traveling this weekend, which will make some stuff a bit difficult, and we already have to pre-record again something special that we'll be releasing that weekend while we're traveling. So keep your eye out for that. So I don't know. That is a fair point to make, sir. Well, you'll have to wait and see. Just like, subscribe, and all that stuff, and maybe you'll find out. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not good at promoting this stuff. All right. See you later, everybody. Have a wonderful week.